I gave up so much for Allah and He gave me so much better. SubhanAllah.
Assalamu alaikum viewers and listeners, welcome back to another episode of Side by Side. I'm your host Kazi Shafiqur Rahman.
When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was a punk. I hated religion.
What made you revert to Islam?
I became a Muslim, my girlfriend didn't like it. As I become Muslim and she went, half my friends disowned me. One of them called me a traitor and that's where the drama started, bro.
Our guest today is Ben Iqra, a revert Muslim brother who is a brand strategist and a storyteller.
I got known as the guy that helps people go viral in the dawah scene. I've generated over 500 million views with all my clients. Every time I do this, it always works. They're the clips that you need to make. Don't worry about getting a million views, but worry about getting 10,000 views regularly. That's better. I knew the strategy, and the most important thing is it needs to be tailored to the audience. So you need to sit down and understand their browsing habits.
Before we introduce our guest today, I have one request. Ladies and gentlemen, supporters and well-wishers, if you are enjoying our content so far on Side by Side, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. And of course, engage with us on social media. With that said, let's get into the show. Brother Ben, welcome to Side by Side.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, bro.
Thank you for coming in. Let's dive straight in with a very personal question that I'd like to ask all my guests. What is your biggest fear, both in your work and personal life?
Bro, one of my biggest fears, I know this is going to sound so typical, my biggest fear is Allah takes His mercy away from me and I drift away from the deen. I come from a non-Muslim background. It's easy. Well, it's not as easy nowadays, alhamdulillah. It's been 13 years, but it's easy to kind of like go into, you know, like that route. And I had before, I stopped practicing before in the middle of my story. So I really fear that, bro, because we know that Islam is a gift and actually Iman is a gift. Like, you know, it's interesting. You know, people that really struggle to pray 5 times a day, they want to pray, but they just can't do it. And this is the lack of mercy that Allah's like giving, you know. So I fear that, bro, because imagine you've been shown the way, right, and then just going, I'll just do this and that instead. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, like, that's what I fear the most in business, bro. I've got so I own a company that helps businesses and individuals grow their social media. I'm a consultant on YouTube and short form content, long form content. Alhamdulillah, business is doing really well, and I know risk is from Allah, but I have that like. It's different to a 9 to 5, bro. Like you don't know how long you're gonna have that client, or if this, you know, things like that. So even if I'm doing really well, I still like fear it will go away, and I'll have to get a normal job again. And even though it's been years of me doing this, that's one of my fears, bro.
Wow.
SubhanAllah.
SubhanAllah. But alhamdulillah, you're good, right? I mean, you always
bro,
have clients.
I'm the best I've been. I'm about to, you know, the digital nomad lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I've got a wife and 3 kids. And I've wanted to do it for a while, but I thought you can't do that with a wife and kids and stuff like that. And I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and he said in his story, he was saying he split up with his missus, and he's moved to Dubai. And I was like, everyone moves to Dubai. And he was like, but I get an Airbnb every month. So I just move every month. I was like, that must be expensive. I looked it up. It was cheaper than my place in Oxford, bro. I was like, why am I paying the sort of rent and bills and council tax and tax? Of, you know, so I'm gonna go traveling, bro. We're gonna start in Turkey next month. Turkey,
Amazing.
Bahrain, Turkey again.
With the family?
Yeah, with the family. Yeah.
Amazing, mashallah.
Yeah, subhanallah.
So obviously you've already said what you do for work.
Yeah.
You weren't always a Muslim.
No.
At what point did you discover Islam, and how did you discover it, and what made you revert to Islam?
So before. Right, my story is a bit weird, bro. I became a Muslim 13 years ago. I was about 22, 23, right? When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was a punk. Big mohawk, leather jacket, spike through my nose and everything like that. I was an atheist. I was an anti-theist. I hated religion because I hated things like, I was against the system. So anything that controlled people like religion, you know, it's fairy tales and stuff. So I used to love watching debates like Richard Dawkins against the Christian, smashing the religious people. But then when it comes to, I knew about Islam a little bit. I've worked with a few Muslims and stuff, and I asked questions here and there. And I always thought, you know, theologically, in their paradigm, there's no contradictions with what they believe. Like with Christianity, the Trinity, it's like even within their paradigm, it doesn't make sense. So I was like, and their book is actually like authentic. You can trace it back to the Prophet, peace upon him. I was like, oh, that's cool though, but there's no such this fairy god daddy thing. So it's a load of rubbish anyway. So I had it implanted that if I was to look into a religion, Islam would be the one that's most authentic to look into. And then I watched this debate with a Muslim and a really well-known scientist and atheist, and he got smashed, bro, by the Muslim, right? And it made me think, like, why do what it was? You've got to be humble to think about why you believe what you believe, and why, and the reality of why I believe what I believed. It was an ego thing. It was me making myself feel better, bigger, and like all these people are idiots and I'm the smart one. And the reality is, like, I had no actual philosophical position that there was no God. I didn't know. There wasn't positive claim. So I kind of stepped back from that and I was like, I'm agnostic. Like, I don't know if there's a God and stuff. And then the more I thought about it, like, how did this universe begin? And there's something must have started it. I'm not saying it's a God or anything, but something must have started it. And then what would the attributes of this be? And it just slowly turned into the attributes of Allah, okay? And I was like, if there was if there was something that started the universe, it has to be intelligent. It has to have a will. So it chose to do it. If it chose to do it and it's conscious, then it knows that I would have existed and the humans would have had a consciousness. So subhanAllah, there might be something in this religion thing. So I looked in, that's when I became kind of a deist, like there must be an intelligent thing that created, but religion's a load of rubbish and controlled. But then when I looked into it, it took about 2 years of research, the authenticity of the Quran. Bro, this is the mental thing about Islam, bro. I'm going to tell you about a really well-known figure, William the Conqueror. It's going on a side thing. William the Conqueror, 1066, he invaded Britain, and the Saxons were no more. Basically, it was a Norman king and everything like that. We know the story, what happened, who was there, who reported it, how can we authenticate this? Like who we don't know who. We know this because of a tapestry. Who are the nuns that did that? How do we know that happened? With the Prophet, peace upon him, bro, we know how many white hairs he had on his head, and we know exactly who reported that, and the person he told, But not only that, the biographies of them, we know exactly who they are, and it's the most authentic history is found in Islam. Then I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to. I didn't want to become a Muslim, bro. Logically, I saw Islam was true. But my desire is people want spirituality, and so I don't want spirituality. I just want to have a fun and party and stuff. But I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So I had an option. I either become a Muslim or I be a hypocrite, and I can forget about it. And I forgot about it. I didn't become a Muslim for a good month or so. And then there's this old man giving dawah in Oxford City Centre. And I just went, and I already know the stuff. I think subconsciously I wanted him to give me an excuse to become a Muslim because I knew I had to do it and I wanted ease for it. And I went there and I took a load of leaflets that I already knew the information about. And then I went again a week later and he said, look, you keep coming back. Do you want to become a Muslim? I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, right, come to my house later. And he had a little dawah centre. He made his conservatory a dawah centre. And there was 2 other white Muslims there. So I felt all at home. And I took my shahada, bro. I went home I had a girlfriend at the time. We had a 1-bedroom flat with a bag with a prayer mat in, a hat. I was like, become Muslim, and she went like that, and that's where the drama started, bro. Subhanallah. So this was about 13 years ago. I became a Muslim. My girlfriend didn't like it. I was slowly learning the religion. Me and her got a nikah to make it halal. Even though if I look back, I don't know if that was
halal or not.
Yeah, I don't think it was actually what's the word I'm thinking of? Accepted. I don't think it was. It was because she wasn't a full Christian. She was a cultural Christian, and the more I learn about fiqh and stuff, the more you think, oh, what I did before was wrong. But anyway, I practiced Islam for a while. This is where the twist is, bro. I actually became a Quran-only Muslim after a few years because I did, and I'm going to tell you I would have given loads of arguments, right? Because of the hadith 200 years ago and all this sort of stuff. But the real reason was it was too hard. being a Muslim was too hard, and I didn't want to have to do this and this and this. And when something that didn't rub well with my cultural background, my liberalism that I believed in before, I felt uneased. So, but when you just reel it back to the Quran only, it's easier. And I think, and I came across a group in Oxford that are Quran only. We used to do like weekly seminars where we'd read the Quran, different translations of the Quran to discover the meaning. 1400 years ago. But anyway, I went down that route, bro. And I think Allah took His mercy. This is what I was saying about Allah took His mercy away from me, and I stopped practicing. I stopped praying, and I was basically living my old lifestyle. Except I didn't eat pork, and I kept my tawheed. I always believed there was one God, and that Islam was true, basically. But I just wasn't following it. Like born Muslims that don't follow it, bro. They go, yeah, Muslim. But actually, I didn't tell people I was Muslim.
Oh, you didn't tell anyone?
Well, I did at first, and then it slowly fizzled, and I met new people, and I just didn't mention it. And then I didn't want this big, long conversation that I became Muslim and stopped. And it's embarrassing. You accepted this thing, and now you don't do it. I believe in it.
Yeah, you look like a very just a flaky guy.
Yeah. So I would say, like, I'm allergic to pork. It makes my stomach a bit. So, things like that. But yeah, and then... I was watching. I used to, in my spare time, I used to play computer games and listen to YouTube videos in the background. And there was this interestingly, there was this really interesting video about Sikhism, and I was like, oh, I don't know about Sikhism. And then where YouTube recommends another video, recommended this Sikh with Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah having a debate at Speaker's Corner. Never heard of Speaker's Corner before. And then I just went down this rabbit hole of watching Dawah videos on Speaker's Corner and stuff. And I was really attracted to a group called EF Dawah. I was just binging their stuff. And I was just feeling, it was bringing back the memories on why I actually accepted Islam. And I was like, what am I doing with my life, bro? Like, years wasted. And I'm just like, and then the same burden came on my shoulders of, I'm going to have to do it again. I'm going to have to get back on this horse. I'm going to have to deal with all those problems again that I dealt with when I first became Muslim, with the girlfriend, with the friends that, like, when I first became Muslim, when I first accepted it, half my friends disowned me. One of them called me a traitor. I was a punk before, bro. What, traitor to what? I hated the system back then as well. Like, but anyway, so I was scared. So one of the YouTube videos, he mentioned about a little REVERT group that they have. I was like, maybe if I get in there, they could maybe help me out. So I contacted EF Dawah, and they took me under the wing. I actually took my Shahada again because just in case, like, because my beliefs became like my belief now. Like, I think I left the fold of Islam with the sort of beliefs I had about the Prophet, peace upon him, like not having the authority that he had. So I retook my Shahada, and I started practicing again, started praying again. In fact, the interesting story is the moment I realised I had to start again, I used to manage a shop, like a retail shop, and I was there like really early because I was doing a stock check, and I realised that I had to turn back to Allah. But the thing is, bro, I've been living a haram lifestyle for years. I needed a ghusl if I wanted to pray. But I was in work, and the story is, bro, I went into this dingy little toilet, like warehouse-style toilet, and I put my like plastic bags down. I stripped off, and I just got a bucket, and I just did a ghusl like that. It's mad. It sounds crazy thinking about it. But anyway, I did that, and I went and prayed 2 rakat. I forgot how to pray, bro. I forgot how to recite Fatiha properly. I forgot what I was meant to say, but I just did the motions, and then I repented and said, Allah, make it easy for me to come back, forgive me, and so on like that. And yeah, subhanAllah, it's like, sorry, man.
Wow, that is incredible. That story is incredible, subhanAllah. Wow.
And Allah gave me, I gave up so much for Allah, and He gave me so much better, subhanAllah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah, we're here.
Oh, subhanAllah, yeah. So, alhamdulillah. So, from that girlfriend, I now have a beautiful, believing wife. I have children. I have a halal business now. And Allah gave me so much better. And that's the promise. Anyone watching this, guys, if you're like living the haram life, Allah promised you, if you give whatever you give up for His sake, He will give you He won't replace it. He will give you better in return. So just have tawakkul on Allah and change it, because honestly, I've not met one person that's made those decisions and Allah hasn't given him better. He's put you through trials, definitely put you through trials.
Ben, so obviously us, so Muslims that visibly look like Muslims, we don't get to see what, say, English people, British white people, Westerners see of us. We only see on media what they see of us. What did you see of us before you became a Muslim? Like, oh, are these guys, like, were you thinking we were terrorists or?
Yeah, I thought you were like, even when I was a Muslim, I was really uneased at the masjid and things. Like, it's proper cultural shock, and also like, when a new Muslim comes to Islam, they're going to have the beliefs they had before. They believe in the foundation, but there's morality that's different to liberalism, to what we have in the UK. And we're going to think because we've been taught things from a young age, we think that's the default, and it's not. So you would think like, oh, this guy's moderate, and assalamu alaikum. But then the guy with the thobe and a big old beard and stuff, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk to him too much because he might like say I'm haram or, like, so yeah, there was a negative connotation. I had to kind of get myself used to being around these people. But the thing is, they all gave me like beautiful hospitality, bro. I mean, some of it was awkward, bro. I got a funny story, man. When I first became a Muslim, a guy invited me to his house because he wanted to show me the sunnah. And I was like, what are you on about? Okay. And the thing is, this brother, at the time, he was going through a rough patch, and he had a little bed sit. And he cooked me an egg, right? And gave me some bread. We sat on his floor with his bed right next to me, and we scooped up bread and he was telling me about the fingers. I was only Muslim like 2 weeks. I'm like sitting there thinking, what bloody hell's going on here? Right, that's so weird. But the actual intention, think about the intention behind that. He just wanted me to experience a bit of Islam. It was the wrong thing to do because I thought it was weird, and it pushed me away from like wanting to be like, if someone invited me around again, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to do some weird thing like that again. But his intention was beautiful, and when I look back, it's like that was a really nice thing to do. Everyone invited me around their house, and everyone was nice. But I kind of was fearful of making friends with them because of that thing that was still in the back of my head.
Yeah, because you've grown up in a way, like, it's so different. I mean, we take everything for granted, like us being Muslim at birth, and it's just the way we've been brought up. But for anyone that's coming into Islam, I mean, I always find it so difficult and strange to accept when people, as Muslims, we expect like the reverts need to be like angels from the day they become Muslims.
Yeah.
But we don't forget. I mean, we forget what we do. We do so many things wrong. I mean, like, we do like too many harams in our life. But when we look at a revert, as if like they're not supposed to do it, they can't do anything, and they have to be perfect.
This is how I felt actually when I was coming off the deen a bit. I was like, they probably see me as a non-Muslim. But yet their own cousin is doing exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
But he's brown and his name's Mohammed or Ahmed or whatever. But my name's Ben and I'm white and I believe, but I'm doing all this madness. So yeah, it's true, bro.
Did you feel isolated when you became a Muslim?
I'm a bit of a lone wolf, bro. I don't need many friends.
Okay.
So when I lost my friends, they were more like drinking buddies and stuff. So I wasn't bothered, man. Isolated. I didn't feel welcome and part of the community. I didn't feel the same. Everyone's talking Urdu around me. Masjid I went to was like I love that masjid. It's still the same one I go to for Jummah at the moment. But it's like a little Deobandi like masjid.
So you understood the whole nuances, Deobandis and Fultanis
not then, but now I do, obviously. But they're obviously like, you know, I could completely understand it, bro. You come to your father's grandfathers came to this country, all right, and you had to set up your own like community. You had to stay together as a community and stuff, and that was the masjid. But the thing is, the mentality of the masjid isn't that it becomes into, this is my little community centre. No, it's a masjid, bro.
Yeah.
And there's people here. We're in Oxford. There's Arabs here. There's English Muslims here. There's African Muslims. Why are you speaking Urdu? In fact, if I shouted out in the crowd now, put your hand up if you speak English. And they put most of the room will put their hands up. In fact, everyone would put their hands up. But if I said who doesn't speak English and only speaks Urdu, it'd be a couple of uncles. But yet you're talking Urdu all the time.
Do you think mosques have bigger responsibilities to play? I mean, role to play in accommodating and showcasing Islam to anyone and everyone that wants to explore Islam?
You know, when I got into the dawah, I was really staunched about it. Like everyone should, but I'm more empathetic to the communities that are like that. I get it. I get why they do that. Like they even argue with each other, never mind like another race of people or culture coming in. So I understand it, but there should be some sort of dawah effort. And when I first became a Muslim, it was hard. So there was one masjid in Oxford. The story was that brother became a Muslim like a year before me. He went into this masjid and can someone teach me how to pray? And they told him to get out. Like they were like, get out, right? Because it was a cultural thing, center, like and it's mad. But now, alhamdulillah, they've got revert lessons and stuff. So it's different. It's changed, and I think it's because of the dawah efforts that's happened in the last decade. That's normalized. And to be honest, there's 500,000 white Muslims in the UK, bro. 500,000 converts. It's a lot of people, man. I know it's still like, oh wow, it's all fun and like, oh, he's a white Muslim. There's loads of us, bro. There's at least one in every masjid.
Wow.
So it's becoming more normal for people to become Muslim. So as that happens, you got to accommodate it, definitely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So before I wrap up this part of the conversation, your revert journey, what signals can we as Muslims, brown Muslims, what can we imagine? John is walking down the street. What can I show him? Like, can I do something to get him to become more curious about Islam and who we are and what we do? Because surely like something somewhere down the line, sparked your interest about Islam. And we're living in a country where it's predominantly non-Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do more as a community to showcase through our behavior and action? You know what? Because we don't know who's going to become Muslim or who's going to get their interest from what. Maybe it could be just because I said hello to someone or I spoke to someone or something. Because I don't know like what people, because when I'm walking down the street, I never think, maybe I could inspire someone with something. What can I do?
It's a really broad question, bro, because I could mention loads of different things. But I think if you look at it, bro, there's the people who actually, the white indigenous English people, or even other cultures and backgrounds that are non-Muslim, the Muslims that are interacting with a lot normally are like semi-practicing or not practicing at work. And what we do as practicing Muslims, we're kind of trying to separate ourselves a bit too much. I think what we need, there's two things we need to do. Interact with them like normal human beings, bro, and stop being closed up and understand that he's going to say stuff that might offend you a little bit or be against the deen or whatever. That's because he's not a Muslim, bro. So just go, okay, cool, man. So and change the subject. The second thing is be unapologetically Muslim. Bro, the amount of times I've told my family or friends that I need to do this thing or I can't do that thing. And then they go, well, yeah, but I know Muhammad and he doesn't do that. Like he doesn't. Sorry, I can't shake ladies' hands because we only shake the hands of our wives and mothers and stuff. But I've got a mate Saeed who we hug when we see each other. Oh, brilliant! Bro, if Muslims practice their deen unapologetically, and I can understand the struggle, man.
Would that not show extremism, or would that actually show something else to another faith?
The thing is, just explain why. Like so. If for example, with the shaking the hand thing, the reason we don't we don't touch women is because we actually see it as almost like sexual contact. So use an analogy, they will understand. So imagine I'm from a culture that when we meet other people, we snog them, we give them a French kiss. Now, if I came to French kiss you, how would you feel? You'd be like, no, thank you. You'd shake your hand out, wouldn't you? Yeah. So in our standards of physical contact with the opposite gender, we don't even touch. We just respectfully say hello and stuff.
Very good analogy.
But no one says that. Everyone goes, "Oh, it's because we respect and honor women." No, it's not. It's because it's considered inappropriate, flirty action. But we're in a culture that have pushed that boundary further. So it maybe even kissing on the cheeks as normal. That's fine. Just explain it, bro. I would say that. Yeah.
Because obviously Islam is a religion where it deals with problems at root. And it's not about messing about. Like it's not about 50-50 or, let's be a bit more accommodating. It just deals with problem on the root at the root. Yeah. And shaking hand could potentially spark some charisma, and it may lead to something else. So I believe Islam is definitely right. Yeah. To just deal with problems where it originates from.
Yeah, I think, like I said, a lot a lot of people, when they're interacting with non-Muslims, it's normally at work or neighbours, not even neighbours actually nowadays, because people don't know their neighbours, but like it's normally work situations and stuff. I would say just don't be nervous to go, say, I've got to pray now, like, or can I have my day off on Friday? And just have some yaqeen, some certainty in that that's the morally right thing to do, and easily just explain it, and don't say it in a righteous way, like we don't do this or we've got to do, like, just go, it's just the way we do things, like I'm not allowed to do that. Just like shaking your hand, it would be the same as me eating pork or drinking alcohol. Like, I can't do it, unfortunately, but there's no disrespect to you. I understand this is awkward now, we're having this conversation, but I hope you understand. And then when we next see each other, we just say hello. How about that? and you can make a joke of it if you want as well. Like, just, and it puts the person to ease, and they learn a little bit, and they don't, like, I think a lot of the fear, the reason we cross boundaries with our deen with that is the fear of looking bad or extreme.
Yeah, and offending the other person.
Yeah, but we coexist with them. We've lived with them for decades, with non-Muslims. We have our communities. We've got masjids. We walk past them every day. Why would we not just explain because then we become the different weird thing. Like if we just explain, and it could spark dawah conversations. You could be like, like for me to actually answer that question, do you want me to take you back to the foundation of, because me telling you why women wear hijab doesn't really answer any questions. Like, what the real reason they answer it is the foundations. Like, do you want me to talk about that? And they go, yeah, well. And then you just talk about tawheed, and we believe in this existence, this being that created all the existence, and that being has a will, and you do some logic, and you can get dawah done that way. It's really the best way to give dawah, actually.
Do you think if all the Muslims living in the UK, they started really, like, just sincerely started speaking to other non-Muslims and have conversation, that may lead to more interest in Islam and potentially less, that there's less gaps between communities?
Yeah. Look at what's happening at the moment with all the riots and stuff. Listen to what they're saying about Muslims. They don't know Islam. They don't hate Islam. They hate a caricature of it. They hate, like, they think it's this, but actually it's this. And if we actually just helped uncover the crap on top of it to discover this gem, what it actually is, it'd make a massive difference. And there wouldn't be this hate. And, like, you know, if you do football, invite John round or go to John's thing and just go, you know, and yeah, there are going to be awkward situations because you've got different standards and different moralities and different rights and wrongs. But we live in a multicultural society where that's normal, okay? We have different rights and wrongs. Let's talk about them and agree to disagree and be friends. That is the best way, bro. Because that's the only way the other side are going to understand Muslims and not see them as the other or weird. They'll just see, okay, they just do that. And then they'll be open to go, so what do they actually believe then? Because when you've got this caricature of this, like, hooked, remember back in the day, that hooked, like, terrorism and like they oppress women. When you take that away, they've got no barrier to actually listen to the foundations of
it's like what you face, like, you know, I have to either accept Islam or just pretend I don't know it. Like, if they have moral conscience, then they will have to make a decision on which way they're going to go.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think we have a lot of duties to really just, I don't know, be a bit more inviting.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I interact with a lot of people in business and in everything that I do, but I don't know, like, if I'm going to offend someone by speaking to them about Islam. So I sometimes just avoid this topic because it can get a bit
I think that talking
awkward.
something deep with a stranger is inappropriate in our culture, in English culture, yeah? So to do that is actually, it could do the opposite, right? But just explaining one little thing that's different, right? That sparks an interest. And if you're going to meet this person next business trip or whatever, they're going to slowly, and then you can have that deep conversation. Like, the only time you go to a complete stranger and talk about the philosophy of life and the reason we're here, normally the only situation that happens is if someone's giving street dawah and they're like, are you up for having this conversation? And they come to you or they don't. Like, and if they come to you, alhamdulillah, they've decided that we're going to push through this cultural norm of not talking about deep things. Because English people, bro, we don't talk about deep things. But my family, like, if you talk about religion, they switch off. Like, if you talk about meaning of life, they switch off. It's all about the light things. So going to something deep like that will put them off big time. So just start with the light things, like, and you can even identify it with your culture instead if you want to go, yeah, in our culture we do it like this and this and this, and it's actually linked to our religion as well, you know, and then just get it done that way, inshallah, and then slowly they learn more about your culture. If you're Pakistani or Bengali or Arab or whatever, they'll learn about that and Islam, and then they can what's the word I'm looking for? They can understand the difference between the culture and the religion, and they can see that, oh, okay, so they do this and they do that. Okay, cool. And like I said, it demystifies Islam, demystifies Muslims, and then they're more open to later having those conversations.
If reverting or helping someone revert to Islam was like a sales process, a sales cycle, where would it begin? What would I say to spark that interest?
Yeah, it's a good question, because like, so every bit of dawah, every dawah conversation, if you're intentionally going to have a conversation for the sake of dawah, then there's no sales pitch, because the avatar, the demographic, the psychographic is different every time. So there's no one strategy. The strategy is to find out the demographic, the avatar, the psychographic first. So you ask them questions. Okay, cool. So what do you believe? Like, what do you think we're here for? And get to know where they are in their heads, because what we tend to do is put a straw man and talk to that instead of the person, right? And someone might actually be really open to Islam, but there's this one thing that they've got a problem with, and if you don't address it, they're not going to come closer. So you need to address the things, the barriers they might have, or the misconceptions, or the things that they need to find out. So I would say talk to them, just to talk to them like a normal thing. Like, so what do you believe? What do you believe? How do you think the world started? You know, and have that, and then find out, and then you could challenge what they say if you want, if that's appropriate, if you can feel that vibe. And go, like, if they're Christian, you can go. So you actually believe that the people who wrote the New Testament were eyewitnesses of the event? Okay, well, did you know that Christian scholars actually say they are anonymous? We don't know who they are. So if we don't know who they are, how can we definitely know what Jesus said? Did you know we believe in Jesus, by the way? Oh, wow. You know,
okay,
like things
so
like that.
Take it light, take it slow.
So it matters. Someone might want to jump straight in, and you could be like, oh, okay, I'm going to tell you now why Islam is logically the best position, and I bet you can't refute it. And they might go, yeah, go on then. They might be up for that. But everyone's different, bro. So have real life conversations with real life people. Don't do a sales script. They will, and this is the big problem. Like,
so identify where they're at, and then just slowly slide in.
Tailor it to that. Yeah. And the biggest thing is learn your religion, man.
Yeah, know your stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, if you can't answer the question.
I'm not saying that you have to be a scholar or studied loads to give dawah, but if you don't know why Islam is true and why you believe what you believe, then do that first. Like, because there's a lot of Muslims that don't realize that Islam is logically true. They just do it because their family do it.
Yeah.
And they got like this untouchable, like, solid argument and solid world belief and truth in their hands, and they just think it was just passed down to them. And it's like, actually find out why it's true. Why is that better than Christianity? Why is that better than atheism? Why is that this logically true? So if you learn that and have certainty, and you just don't believe it because you feel it.
Can you explain me a couple of things that I always have curiosity about, and I don't find the answers to these questions, and maybe you would be able to help me. Tattoos. Why do people do tattoos?
The core reason is fashion, bro. The core reason is because that looks cool. Like, everyone, I used to work in a tattoo parlor, bro, before I was Muslim. So
perfect. You explain to me more, because to me, I don't find it fashionable. I'm like, if someone's got so many tattoos like, up and down their body, I'm like, yo, like, that doesn't look nice.
The thing is, bro, our outlook on fashion and culture, it's what you consume and who you're around. So if you've normalized tattoos, so it's not weird, for one. If you normalize tattoos, why wouldn't you have a lovely bit of art piece on your body? Like, think of it that way, yeah? So it's not got a taboo about, no one thinks it's weird, people do it. And then people attach meanings to the tattoo. So they might have a meaning to what, like, their mum died, and her favorite animal was a bird, and they do that in memory of their mum, but they wanted it to look nice. But the reason people do anything with their appearance is because they want to be viewed in a certain way. That's why they do it. Like, that's why they do it. They might attach meaning afterwards, but yeah.
Or do they want to feel like unique, special?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do they want to get maybe compliments? Maybe that sparks conversations.
A lot of people get the same style tattoos to fit in. So I think when it was more taboo in society, then people would do it to stand out. But nowadays it's so normal. People get the same style tattoos to like kind of fit in with the fashion, and then 20 years later it's out of fashion, and you can see that that's a millennial. Like he's got that tattoo, you know.
Hey guys, I hope you have been enjoying today's episode of Side by Side with myself, Kazi Shafiqur Rahman, as your host, and our guest, Ben Iqra, who is a brand strategist, a storyteller, and a specialist video editor. This episode was brought to you by Get Micro, a web design agency that's based in London who create beautiful websites for entrepreneurs and small and medium-sized businesses for less than £900 delivered within 10 days or less. If you are looking for a beautifully crafted website to express your products, services, or your ideas, please visit Get Micro. If you have been enjoying our content so far on Side by Side, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates us to keep going and keep pushing forward, episode after episode. With that said, let's get straight into the show.
I got tattoos because I thought made me cool, and I was a punk before, like I told you. So I had safety pins in my nose, and I had leather jackets with spikes on. I wanted to fit like. So I got like really rough and ready tattoos that look like they've been done on a pirate ship, rather than beautiful artwork and stuff. Because that's how I wanted to look. And I've got tattoos on me that have meanings that I did attach meanings to them that I don't believe anymore and stuff. So it's embarrassing sometimes.
So, did you want to create a certain perception of you with that look?
Yeah.
And did it work? Did it work?
Yeah, so like that. There's different little subcultures in the West. So there would be like, you know, drill, and it's normally attached to music, to be honest. So there would be like, these are the goth. When I was a teenager, bro, in the 2007, 8, right? The emo was the cool thing with the hair and stuff, right? And then punk became fashionable again. Like but the thing is with punk is not many people got into it, so you stood out, and it was almost like I'm the elite like rocker or alternative. I'm like I go the extreme, and that made you stand out. And I'm gonna be honest, I only got into punk because I fancied a girl who liked it. So I was like, oh yeah, if I do that and I start listening to that shit, I'll get her in bed. And that's how it all happened. And then I kind of, this is actually quite cool, actually. And people treat you differently. So some people feared me because of the way I looked. Some people mocked me. Like people shout at me in the street and like take the mick out of me. Some people, I loved it, bro. I loved standing out, and I loved the fact I didn't really like the status quo of society, bro. And the rat race that like get up. Well, I'm from a really like lower working class background, like. Most of my family were factory workers, and my lineage, bro, I had to look up my lineage because of Islam, because we've got to know our lineage. And it goes from me to factory worker to coal miner, all the way to the 1700s, right? So yeah, like for me, the idea of doing that again, it was like, this is rubbish. I want to rebel against society and stuff. So I wanted people to see that I'm not like you, bro. And I don't.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. What about dogs? Is it similar story for dogs? The fascination for, I guess, Western people and dogs.
Yeah,
I just can't get my head around it.
So dogs were not kept as pets like they are until the Victorian times. Okay, it became fashionable to have dogs, and they bred them in certain ways. So it became British culture. Dogs, you can have a really lovely relationship with a dog because they're very friendly, and it's nice like to have a dog. Like it is nice to have a dog. And that's why I think, because people have.
Or is it to just fill a void?
Maybe
like they feel like empty in some ways.
It just becomes norm. Like imagine you grew up with a dog and you had a relationship with it, and you could see its personality and so on like that, and then it died when like you're a teenager.
They have personalities as well.
Yeah. They have their own personality and stuff.
Oh,
yeah, they're very conscious beings. Like, and then bro, in Islam, dogs aren't a bad thing. They're just in certain school of thoughts, they're najis. Okay, so a dog isn't evil. Right, there's certain dogs that really are, like you should avoid and so on like that, But generally, like you're allowed dogs for hunting, you're allowed dogs for security, you're allowed dogs for working reasons, and we've done that for thousands of years. That's been the norm. But in the Victorian times, they went, "Do you want to bring it into the home and have it as a pet?" So like the relationship with dogs and humans are very natural. In fact, the dogs are the way they are because we made them the way we are. We took wolves and we kind of bred them to do what we need them to do. So they're kind of their intuition is to have a connection with us. So if you've been around dogs all your life, I've got no problem with dogs. I'm a Maliki as well. So Maliki, the dog touching a dog doesn't. It's not a najis. It's only I think I can't remember actually. I think the saliva's najis. If they lick the bowl or whatever. But so yeah, like I think there's a big fear of dogs in the sub-Indian continent, basically.
Like we've got loads of dogs in our country. I mean, there's too many of them.
Yeah, really.
And there's no value. Like I don't think the breed that I think anyone want to use as pets, because you get so many dogs in my country, where I come from, in Bangladesh.
Okay.
Way too many dogs.
Really?
But I always wondered, like, what is this deal with dogs? Because I just can't get I did lots of Googling, but I just couldn't get my head around, like, why would someone want to have a dog? And no, it's not even that. They go as far as sharing ice creams, you know.
Yeah.
Like they are so affectionate towards a dog, more than a human being, bro, to some extent.
It's like having a toddler, okay? So this is the intelligent levels, like a toddler, like 2-year-old or 1-year-old or whatever. So, you know, a lot of people get dogs rather than have kids because there's less responsibility and stuff, and they get that some sort of connection that you'd get with a kid. I think this is one of the reasons. Maybe this is just me guessing. I'm not saying this is part of Islam. One of the reasons why it's impermissible for us to keep them in the house and have them as pets like that is because of that, because it fills a void where you're meant to be having kids and stuff. And look what happens now. More people care about dogs than human beings.
Yeah.
Like the English care about the dogs more than the Palestinians that get bombed. Like, unfortunately, they would see a dog getting tortured or whatever, and they would go up in arms and give money. But they see a human being that's a different color, and it's mad. But this isn't just English culture, bro. This is a lot of cultures.
It's widespread. Like I mean, when I moved to this country, I was like, "Oh, this is very new to me."
Yeah.
Are
you not born here?
I'm not born here. I was born in Bangladesh and migrated in 1997. So we had a lot of integration to do. In fact, I have this trouble with the word integration as well. Now, I put a LinkedIn post up last Friday, and that's getting a lot of interest. You know, who is responsible for integration? Am I fully 100% responsible to integrate with you, or are you also kind of supposed to come forward? So that's another debate that I struggle with.
No, I think it's a colonialist mindset to say you need to integrate to me. To be fair, you're going to someone else's country and you're settling and so on like that. So don't do things that are really out of the norm or make yourself a burden to them, right? But there shouldn't be any expectation for you to now become British. They don't even know what British is themselves. Like, look at me, I was a punk. That's meant to be British, but that's completely different to the Queen. Like, there's different cultures within British culture. So integrate where? What, just completely whitewashing and take away my culture and background? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think coexisting is like, in Islam, bro. We've always had coexistence with the Christians and Jews, and it's always been very successful. And we didn't force them to integrate. We let them rule by their own book, and they had their own thing, and we had the society, and we
integrated.
coexisted.
Yeah.
But integration means forcing someone to be Muslim. And if it was the other way around, integration means you now have to pray.
Yeah.
You now have to. You're wrong for doing that. But the other way around means get rid of your Islam, get rid of your culture, and become me.
Do you think that's what it means nowadays? Integration, like let go of your own identity and become more of us.
Yeah, I do think that. I think. I think that. Definitely. I mean, there's.
And we're falling for it as well. I mean, we are kind of slipping away.
Well, the thing is, when September 11th happened and stuff, there was a lot of like, whoa, this isn't us, right? So, and everyone's like pointing the finger at the brown guy with the beard and the woman with the hijab. And you're like, what? It's not. So psychologically, you kind of want, no, I'll prove to you, we're not like that. I kind of get it. Bro, if I went to a strange country, I didn't know the language, I semi-knew the culture, I would feel insecure with myself. I wouldn't want to go somewhere like, if it was like, for example, in Japan, it's not normal, it's bad to talk on public transport. So like us talking now would be taboo. If I knew that, I'd make an effort not to do that, yeah? And that's a difference between, that's a different than integrating, because I'm just respecting the cultural norms and not disrespecting the culture and norms of these people. As long as it doesn't disagree with Islam, I think that's what the friendly integration maybe mean. But especially when people go, oh, the only problem I've got with Muslims, I don't integrate. What they mean is, the only problem I've got with Muslims is they're not pretending to be white, and then we wouldn't accept them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because you see the people do that, and they're not respected. They're like, it doesn't matter if your name's Muhammad, you're probably not going to be picked for the interview. You know, things like that. So it says in the Quran, no matter how much you try and please them, they'll never be happy until you leave Islam.
There's so much to talk about. I want to talk about content creation and personal branding. But before I get to that, you know, one thing, and another thing that I noticed when I moved to this country is like people smile, like, but how much of it is genuine smile and how much of it is not? Like if I'm in a bus and say maybe a English man or a woman smiles, like, how do I know if it's real or is it just politeness?
It's just politeness. It's just like saying salam. So the British people have false politeness, and not do that is rude. So it might be meaningless, like that or whatever it may be.
What if I end up speaking to that person, that man or something, like, you know, he smiled and I started speaking? Would you feel uncomfortable about it? Or why did I smile at him?
You went across the boundaries. Maybe some people might not, like, but most people they're smiling because that's just the norm.
Just a polite thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, when did you take interest in personal branding and content creation? I mean, when did that come about?
It was an accident, bro. This is Allah giving me better. So I told you about my story coming back to the deen because of the dawah and stuff. I started, when I got really solid with my deen and stuff, I started helping the new Muslims in that group. So I got involved in the dawah, and I got involved, and I kind of joined EF Dawah, the organisation. I give dawah at Speaker's Corner and then do some back end as well when people take their shahada and stuff. And lockdown happened, and I was getting paid my full wage, but I didn't have to do anything. So I kind of thought I'll help them out. And actually, I might do some dawah now. So I started a YouTube channel, and I started coming onto the live streams. So we used to do live streams, invite Christians on or talk about whatever, like things like that. So I used to be a part of them on and stuff. But I was like, why? Like, I got ADHD, right? And when we're like Rottweilers, so when we got interested, so we got to like devour it and understand everything about it. So that's what happened with content creation. So I was like, right, I need to be good at YouTube. Why doesn't this get a click? Well, I just spent a day filming this thing and doing the thumbnail and that. Why is no one interested? I don't get it. Is it me or is it like, and then so I had all this spare time. I was getting fully paid, so I went mental, and I didn't actually. So if I jump forward a bit, my first step into all this was video editing. But if I go back, what my real interest was social media strategy and YouTube strategy. What actually works with YouTube and stuff. And I did my channel. I did like dawah videos, and then I did like all sorts, bro. I did cooking videos. I got like a cooking show on my thing. It's not on there anymore, so if you look it up, you won't find anything. And then I used to do gaming videos, like halal gaming, so like avoiding the haram games, because I wanted to like get like non-practicing Muslims or kids kind of watching someone that's halal instead. Mm-hmm. So I started doing that, and then TikTok came along, and I started going on TikTok and stuff like that, and I just realized how amazing TikTok was for dawah, but not just the normal dawah of showing Islam, but normalizing Muslims in the West. Like, and we've just been talking about that just now for ages. And this is one of my big goals. I love Muslims to just be normalized. Like, it's just not the weird. He's just praying. That's what they do. You know. So the best way I thought to do that is being on their For You page. So I started making videos. I encouraged other da'is and other Muslims, even if they were into cooking or whatever, just make content, but just be unapologetically Muslim. Like, and so someone that might, like, let's say this sister wants to do a cooking TikTok, she'll have the hijab on, she'll make things, and she'll go like that. Non-Muslims will watch that to learn the cooking thing, but she'll have that. She'll take a liking to this
indirectly.
Muslim.
She will like
indirectly.
Yeah.
So I remember doing this live stream, actually, inviting people on, like calling people to go on TikTok, to just go on TikTok. It's brilliant. And I went mad on it, and I did quite well on TikTok, and I did well helping other da'is go on TikTok. And then IERA contacted me and said, look, we've seen all your stuff. we'd love you to help us with our social media and things. They brought me in, and I actually became they brought me in and said, can you come on the podcast and tell your story? I'm like, all right, cool. And then they said, do you want to come in next week as well? And I thought I'd be coming in to do part 2 of my story. And they said, no, you're going to be the host. And I'm like, what? And I became the host of Rerouted on iEra. But also, I started making content for their TikTok. And it was only TikTok, it wasn't Instagram or anything then. And I did standalone stuff, so I'd actually make content. And I would also take clips from their previous stuff. And I grew it to like 100,000 in no time at all. And so other daities were like that. And so I got known as the guy that helps people go viral in the dawah scene. And I got so many offers for work that I realized that, wait a minute, if I work for him, I can quit my job. Awesome. So that's what I did. I quit my job, but at the time I knew nothing about business. And I wasn't in it for the money. I just wanted to be like, my bills to be paid while doing stuff for the sake of Allah. Now imagine everything I'm doing is for the dawah. Amazing. So I was just on a day rate with these people. So like day rate for you, And I did that for a while, and I learned video editing because of that. So I took a video editing course, and I slowly got better, and I took a thumbnail design course as well and got better at that. And I grew their channels like loads, man. Like Hamza's Den was at like 10,000 all the way to 300,000 subscribers, and I knew the strategy. And the most important thing is that it wasn't like hacks of, if you put this in the thumbnail, if you copy that podcast's thumbnail design, then you'll get likes. It was actually understanding the target audience, like understand their mentality and delivering the message, just like I said about dawah, in that way. And they'll click and get it straight away, and they'll want to do it, creating curiosity. So that's what I did, right? And then I thought, I'm going to get someone else on board to help me do these like shorts, and I'm going to go to other days, but not do day rate. I would say, like, I'll give you, I don't know how much.
It was more like a package.
Yeah, package. But I was like, how much do people charge? I don't know. So I looked on Fiverr, bro. And I saw like people in Pakistan charging like £5 an edit and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? I'll do £10 an edit. So I was like, look, I'll do 30 shorts from your long form content for 300 quid. And that's how it started. And I was paying my mate that was unemployed at the time, pittance. Like I gave him a cut, and we were growing it. So many people were onboarded with me, and I was like, I nearly quit, bro. It was so much pressure. And that's because I didn't know anything about business. And I didn't know, so I took this course, a freelancing course, and it taught a lot of things about the back end of things. And I realized, bro, that I was charging way too little. I didn't know the industry, and that's why I didn't know what people were charging. I didn't know where my value was, and so on like that. So I kind of got rid of some of those dawah clients, and stepped back a bit, and restructured everything. And that's when I started. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for Muslim YouTubers that have something to sell. So it's halal and stuff. And do you know Mahdi Tijani?
Yeah.
So he was at 7,000 subscribers, and I approached him. I was like, look, bro, I'm gonna help you. Like, he had an app at the time. I was like, look, I'll help you grow and stuff like that. I sent him a DM, and I got on board, and within like months we upped it, and he's got like 100,000, and you know, and then the word of me spread. Then businesses approached me, and it was like there was one guy who was an accountant who wanted to grow on social media, and that was the first time I charged proper rate. Like it was still a lower rate to what completely low to what I charge now, but that's when the business side of things happened. And then it's just grown on top of that, and I help businesses understand.
Let's say our podcast example. Like, let's use it as an example. We're at 10K subs. Mm-hmm. My vision one day, I want to interview multimillionaires and billionaires, like at that business angle, but again have those discussions so our Muslim community can see and get inspired and learn from those people, because we see a lot of contents on TikTok and online, but it's never tailored towards say our community, because there's so many things that are not acceptable within our community. So some of the books that I read, like, it's contradictory to our faith. Because alhamdulillah, I have some knowledge, I can,
filter it.
Yeah, I can filter it.
Yeah, that's normal.
So ultimately my goal is to, be Diary of a CEO or Lex Friedman type of podcast. Yeah. Where do I go now?
So One thing I wouldn't do is mimic it, because then you're not special. You're a copycat. You're that Pakistani editor that does it for $5 that copies the thing and doesn't actually know.
There's no creativity. There is no uniqueness.
So don't copy what they're doing. What you need to do is go back to a foundational root, and literally, I've got this skeleton structure that works with everyone, because it's not about you, and it's not about what you do with a thumbnail. It's not about what cameras you use and how many angles and what the editor.
It's the food that you give, right? It's
the person watching.
Yeah.
So you need to really think and really brainstorm. Who am I? Who do I want to watch this? And if you say everyone, then you're not serious, okay? Because a different person will watch. What's his name, bro? Mark Tilbury. Right.
Yeah,
he has a podcast. I think they changed it. It used to be Son and Dad podcast. It changed to something else. I forgot now.
Strike It Big.
Yeah, that's it. So he's a successful podcast, but he's got a target audience. What's his target audience? And what are their pain points? What are their goals? What are their fears? What are their beliefs? When you understand who you want to reach out to, then you can tailor that content for
Let's
them.
assume, for our case, it's Muslim audience.
Yeah.
Muslim audience. Now, is there a sub category within the Muslim audience?
So do you mind if I criticize you a little bit?
Go on.
Okay. So if you want a Muslim audience, don't make barriers for people who want to watch. So for example, bro, use music in your edits and your content, but it's like serving food.
True.
It's like serving food. Yeah, that one's got haram in it. That's got alcohol or pork in it. Okay, you wouldn't be so stupid to do that.
Yeah.
So even if there's difference of opinion and all that sort of stuff,
avoid
it. And there is alternatives, bro. Okay. I don't touch music. I've got people. I've generated over 500 million views with all my clients in this short time that I've done.
Amazing, mashallah.
And I've not used music, bro, because you don't need music.
Okay.
Right? But a lot of things that can have the effect or the vibe can be created with the voice. And there's lots of nasheed artists that you can get. If you've got a specific thing you want, you can get them custom do it, 250 quid, 500 or whatever. Or you can buy a library of it, and you've got the rights to use that now. It's not just steal it or whatever. You've got the rights to use that. And it sounds good, bro. It's not what we used to. They've got modern beats and stuff. Okay. Now there's difference of opinion with music and stuff. Okay. Yeah. But all school for the thing that is haram. All schools are for is the actual. It's not the lyrics. It's not the feeling someone gets. Nothing's mentioned in the hadith about that. It's the instrument. The musical instrument itself is haram. So all schools allow the voice. Okay. Now, the duff is different, right? I'm a Maliki, and it's one of the strictest madhabs of allowing music and stuff. So in the Shafi madhab, duff is fine. So you can have a bit of a drum beat and stuff. But in the Maliki madhab, you can't. The only time you can use a duff is for a wedding or Eid, and it's got to be women to do it as well. But if I make a sound that sounds like the duff with my mouth, you're not disobeying Allah and His Messenger. And there is a valid opinion in the Deen, right? They are a massive minority that say even mimicking the instrument is haram.
I was just about to ask, is that finding a loophole into...
but you say that, but would you ever eat beef bacon? But in a burger, bacon that's made out of beef, it's the same flavor, strips, that's
as long as it's halal,
yeah, it's halal slaughtered. Yeah. So the principle's the same. You're tasting something that tastes like swine, the pork, but it's pure. It's not got the najas in it. It's not. So you got this sound that is the same. And bro, it's the majority of the opinion that this is fine. It's a minority that say.
Okay, assume we've dealt with the sound. Okay. We've got rid of it.
Right. Another thing is, bro, as podcasts at the moment, It's not the easiest way to grow on social media. If we look at all the people that watch content, a very minority of people sit there for an hour and watch, and sometimes they don't even watch. They pay for YouTube Premium and they listen. I do that. I've listened to your podcasts. I've not watched them. I've maybe if you mention something and you laughed or whatever, I might have a look and that. But a lot of people listen instead. So how can I make this content more viable for people who don't watch podcasts? So making the best bits into standalone clips. Don't advertise it as the clip from the podcast.
Okay.
But like, so for example, I've just talked to you about the best way to grow on social media. You can have the thumbnail that goes, this guy drops gold about getting 100,000 subscribers in 6 months. Right? So that's going to interest people. And he didn't use music and it's 100% halal Muslim audience. And it's 10 minutes. So people see 10 minutes, they go, yeah, go on then. And you can do that. You can do an intro that eases it in. So at the beginning of videos, you need to give a reason for someone. If it just goes straight into it, sometimes it's a bit boring.
Yeah.
You could even record separate introductions. I talked to this guy, Ben. I've never heard of him in my life. And now I reckon we're going to get to 50,000 subscribers and look, watch this. And then it goes to the podcast.
Okay.
So remember what I said about it needs to be tailored to the audience. So you need to sit down and understand who you're going and understand their browsing habits. Like, so if you want to grow on YouTube, what are Muslims in a certain age bracket, a certain wealth bracket, what are they watching on social media? Have a look. Go to your analytics. Have a look what videos are recommended aside your videos. Are they relatable to what you do? Is your target audience watching that? If it's like a pop song or whatever, or
it's not reaching the audience.
It's not reaching the right audience. Okay.
So I have a lot of dawah as a next category next to me.
Say that again, sorry.
Ali Dawah, those types of channels.
Okay, so basically you're hitting audience that are religiously conscious. They like a little bit of YouTube drama and stuff like that. And it's probably because of certain people you've brought on, and so on like that. So you can, so you now know what they're watching. Make a dummy account, create a YouTube account, follow Ali Dawah and stuff. You can hire a VA to do it for you and say, look, spend 3 hours and watch their stuff. Feed the algorithm to make the algorithm think that you watch this stuff. And then what does it recommend you? What's popping up now? So, okay, it's popping up this thing. Okay, Speaker's Corner content. Okay, this thing. Big lecture from Mufti Menk. This thing. Whatever.
So you can engineer it to a certain extent.
You have to engineer it, bro. So it's a bit different with creating podcasts because you have to engineer after the product's made.
Yeah.
But if you were to make YouTube videos from scratch, you would actually design the thumbnail and title.
Yeah.
Before
So
you
you'd know exactly which direction the conversation is going to be and what you're going to be saying in that video. Like when we're having this conversation, I didn't know like we're going to end up having conversations about tattoos and dogs and so many different aspects.
I cried a little bit when we had this interview, right? A thumbnail with me with tears, like he gave up everything for the sake of Allah. You know what? Everyone that loves white revert stories will click that and watch it. The thing is, if they choose to click it and they watch it all, that means YouTube will recommend your videos more to that person and people like it.
Okay.
Right. So you can tailor the content that way. Make it more available for people. Make some smaller clips. Try it for 2 months, like maybe even one a week or two a week of smaller clips. You can go previous podcasts. Go through your podcast that did well.
The best bits.
Yeah, but look at because sometimes views aren't reflective of a good video.
Yeah, true.
If you look at the retention on the graph, you'll see if the retention percentage is really low, then it wasn't actually a good podcast. It just maybe the person the thumbnail was really good and they clicked it and they went, nah, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Have a look at one that's really stable, that like gets to the 50% mark and stays stable and doesn't drop down straight away or whatever. Or have a look at the spikes. People have gone back and watched it again, or stuff like that. Have a look at the spikes. They're the clips that you need to make. So yeah, choose a clip. Think, how can I package this in a way that my target audience will understand? Make your brand stand out. At the moment, you're copying the Diary of CEOs,
like that kind of direction that we were taking.
No disrespect at all, and a lot of people do that. But if no one's ever heard of you before, never watched your thing, you won't stand out because so many other podcasts are doing the same thing. So and also you're doing this to build your own personal brand as well. Yeah. So I think more of your opinions and experiences would be amazing in your content. Okay. I think. And you could look at your shorts as different type of content, not clip it. Even though shorts are amazing to expose your podcast, but start making some shorts about your own. You're a successful businessman, mashallah. Okay, so
talk about my opinions, or my views.
Maybe get someone to talk to you and interview you instead.
Okay, that'd be quite cool. Interesting. Yeah. So how do I now? Like we've spoken about, say, I want to target a particular audience, say my community, my audience, Muslim people. Now, I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a non-Muslim. I'm not a white person. How do I now break into their world?
So what's happened now is you've got a very strong core foundation of audience. They are Muslim, okay? And you talk about Islam and stuff. Or no, you don't talk about Islam. It's just a theme within it, okay? Now that's a real advantage because you're going to talk about business. You're going to talk about like fashion, culture, food, or whoever you get on. It represents the content. So these other people will be interested in that as well. So once you've got to that point of a plateau where you're not growing anymore and you've got most of the audience, then you create content that's what I call fishing net content, where you may get a non-Muslim in and interview them about something completely different, but keep the same brand. Like keep that, like you talk, because you got to think, right, now I'm interviewing this guy, he's a non-Muslim, right? And we're going to talk about, I don't know what it may be, and make sure that non-Muslim's famous as well, well-known, or has his own following. But if my if my core audience watch this, what do I keep doing? What works? Every time I do this, it always works. Keep doing that. Don't avoid it just because you're doing it, or reinvent it because it's a new non-Muslim. And what will happen is it will expand. So yeah, inshallah, that's the best way.
You're kind of now they're pulling you into their audience because of who they are. But you're saying like, still stick to your framework and the way you do things.
Yeah, and your principles.
Yeah.
Like people will come on knowing that you're a Muslim and you have certain beliefs or etiquettes or standards. But we're not talking about that, but that's just underlying.
Sometimes I do get afraid because I've got a lot of friends and followers who are non-Muslim, and some of the contents that we put out there, I feel like on the back of my mind, I'm thinking like these guys are definitely going to be offended by this. What do I do?
An example. So if you've got an underlying fear of offending them, and you've got to stop that, man. There's nothing wrong with our belief. There's nothing wrong with your culture. It's different to theirs. If they're offended, they've got a problem.
Okay.
And it's absolutely fine to be weirded out by something different, but that's an opportunity to explain, like I said earlier. So don't fear. Don't have some certainty within your with Islam. It's the true. It's our fitrah to live Islam. Okay. Look at the problems of the world at the moment, and it's due to the lack of guidance. It's due to liberalism and stuff. Like the world. Every empire collapses because they get more and more liberal, and the taboo things get more and more normalized, and it collapses. Like the Roman Empire, people having orgies and stuff, and they're believing in multiple gods, and they were doing this and that, but if you went to that same Roman Empire 500 years before, those things would not be normal and okay. And this is what happens to society. So we've got a stability, we've got a standard, a morality that is unwavering, and it works, and it's proven work.
So what you're saying is that be true to who you are. Don't try and the way I say is like coconut. Or inverted coconut, or the other way around. Just be who you are.
Be unapologetically Muslim, but communicate it to someone. So without you're wrong or whatever. Just go, we do it differently, a little bit differently. We actually, like, for example, let's say you get a trade guy in, and they're going to talk about riba or whatever, and you could talk, look, I'll tell you something, actually, in Islam, we're not allowed to even take loans and stuff.
Yeah.
Look, some of us do that anyway. Like, there's Muslims that drink as well, but it doesn't mean we're allowed to do it. So if I were to do what you do, I've got to find a way around that. And that could be an interesting, I didn't know, the non-Muslim, I didn't know that. The thousands of non-Muslims that watch this, I didn't know that, So what would be interesting what would be interesting as you grow, your avatars, you need to add avatars to your list. So you'll have when I work with a client, we sit down, 2-hour crash course in understanding your avatar. We would come up with a guy. Like, let's say I've got someone that's so I've got a client that's a dentist, right? He teaches dentists how to invest because they got a good pay, but they've got bad spending habits. He teaches them to invest so they can be work optional within 5 years or whatever. Okay, he's got a course to sell and everything like that. So we sat down and he's targeting Muslim dentists. So we right, how old is he? Okay, he's like 30. Okay, so how much do you earn a month? How educated is he? And then we look at what fears and goals and motivators. You write it down, bro. Write the people that you want to watch your channel right now. Then as you expand, you add people to it. Okay. And then all that list of fears, motivates, the psychographic stuff, they are content ideas. So then you can pick people like, so I want to do a video. I want to do a video about, I don't know, I'm thinking of something on the spot, bro. SubhanAllah. I know, I want to do a video about being unapologetically Muslim, right? So I want my Muslim audience to identify with the struggles I'm feeling now, getting this woman on, right? And talking about business, but I'm going to have to bring up these things. So that's going to work as a video because people are attracted to that because you've curated it. So you purposely invite people on that will hit those things.
Okay, so you have to have a core focus group and they have to fit within that framework
and
or the avatar.
As you grow, have more avatars. But the thing is, bro, when I help businesses, we tend to go like, don't have more than 3 because you've got a product to sell. And that if you go too broad, there'll be too many people that don't care. But with you, bro, you're doing full entertainment. Like, obviously people learn stuff from their things, but no one's going, I really want to learn about Forex trading. And this guy got a podcast. They don't do, they're doing it because they're entertained by it. Okay. So it's a bit different. You can be broader with your avatars.
So am I an entertainer as well then?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So I hope people are getting entertained.
So there's 4 major types of content. Okay. There's educational. So I want to learn how to make a pot and pottery. There's entertainment, which is people watch it to pass time and enjoy. Okay. Then there's community based. So you might make content to gather all the Muslim editors around. Like I did that on Instagram. I'm like a flag for Muslim editors to get together to discuss the problems and clients and all that sort of stuff. So that's a community-based content. And then there's searchable-based content. So you have a search-based strategy. Someone goes, how do I attach this thing to a Henry Hoover? So I make content about that. So if you were to categorize yourself, there is a middle ground with edutainment. So you've got education and entertainment, edutainment. Okay. But it's still an education thing. Okay. If you think about it, with all the people that have come on, with the shorts that you made, it's entertainment.
Yeah. And it's funny because the ones that create more tension with the audience, these are the ones that people like to watch as well. It's like people have this relationship with pain, at the same time entertainment. It's like if the video is giving them some sort of attention and they're not really liking it, but they're still liking it for some reason. I just don't get it.
What do you mean, bro?
Like when the episode has some tension, like, the awkward guest is saying something awkward or something that does not fit their kind of worldview, they want to watch it more. But although it's like,
So we are attracted, human beings are attracted to negativity more than positivity. So in fact, like when creating content about education, right, and you want someone to click something because you're going to teach them something, and then they're going to come and like go through your funnel or whatever, you would advertise it, you'd package it. Packaging means thumbnail and title and the theme of the video. You'd package it in a way of the pain point of the person, not the goal and motivator. You wouldn't go, this guy got $1 million and you'd go, this is why your video editing business isn't getting high ticket clients. It's on the negative because it's hitting the thing that they're struggling with. Because and I bet, do you read through your comments?
Yeah.
I bet you, like, we're not allowed to bet, but I'd bet £1 million that you remember the negative comments more than you do the positive. Yeah. But yet they're probably only 5-10%. Maybe, and maybe on some of your podcasts a bit more. But
well, Mehdi Tijani one was interesting.
So we remember negativity more. It's a stronger emotion. So that's why those go viral. Okay, that's why those work, and you can utilize that to bring attention to your brand. And there's strategies of making content that will purposely get a massive audience, knowing that majority of the audience won't watch your other stuff. And that's fine because there's going to be a small group of people within that majority that you just went viral with that would be your target audience.
So they will stay.
Yeah,
and then
so they stay
continue.
and it's slowly. And what happens, like for example, on Instagram, one big strategy is when you target to go viral at least once or twice a month. Okay, and what happens? Let's say you get 1,000 views on average, and then one blows up and gets 1 million. What will happen now? All your standard views now go up. They maybe go to 10,000 or 5,000. And what's happened is exactly that. You've got all this attention and a little small minority going, no, I didn't know about this guy. And they followed and they've actively watched your stuff or went through your stuff. So now the algorithm is recommending it to these people. Okay. And then you go viral again and it happens again, it tops it up. So your standard becomes a certain amount. and your viral videos normally stay the same, so they don't go up, but your standard goes up, and that's what you want to build, bro. Don't worry about getting 1 million views, but worry about getting 10,000 views regularly. That's better. That's more stronger for your brand than just going viral.
Amazing.
Once.
There's a lot. I mean, I've taken away a lot. So the avatar is very important.
Very important.
So what we used to do is like get the guests and then work backwards. So now what you're saying is like we need to identify
it
avatars
is hard with
and
podcasts
topics.
to do this, bro, because you don't know what the content is until you've had the podcast. Now, no, I wouldn't mention this. It's not very relevant to you. There's other podcasts that do it to educate.
Yeah.
So that it's edutainment.
Yeah.
And like there's a podcast called the Editing Podcast, right? Because I'm into editing and stuff like that. That's why I'm bringing it up. They construct their podcast. They give the person the questions they're going to put.
Okay.
The person actually like thinks about the answer properly, and they'll say, look, I want our audience to go away with this, this, and this. So, but you're not that, and you don't want to do that. So it's a bit different. What you can do, you can still pre-plan it by what guests you get on. Now you can shotgun it and just invite so many people on and get loads of different interviews, and that's a really good way to start. Yeah, but then eventually, when you get to a certain point where you'll be like, oh, I want to go on side by side. Like you can choose who comes on, and it'll be a privilege, and you can curate what's going to happen next month.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Interesting. Definitely. I completely agree, and it's something that we should definitely look into, the avatar part, which stood out the most. And do you think business? So I find that certain businesses are harder to promote on social media or with contents. Is it because the food or content is food, the food is not good, or is there something else at play?
Can you give me an example?
For example,
what type of business?
Perfume business.
Okay.
It's way harder to get the views on short forms on a perfume business that is more of a luxury premium product than a food business. Why is it that food is much easier to get exposure on than perfume?
So I'm into perfume, right? And I'm going to come to your question, but I'm going to give you some context. There's a perfumer called Ansar Oud. I don't know if you heard of him. He's all natural ingredients, proper oud. It's not synthetic, all natural. And it costs a lot, bro. And it's a big decision to go, because you don't know what it's going to smell like. There's no shop or like that. So with food, you can look at food and kind of imagine what it's going to taste like.
True.
So it's hard with perfume. So what you need to do is stop what you're doing, go back to the beginning. Who do you want to attract? What do they like? And create content for that. It doesn't have to be about perfume. So a lot of the big brands now, they create adverts that got nothing to do with their product. They got nothing to do with their product, but they're being, it's just on the side, So you could create content that attracts that avatar that you're looking for to be your customer. That would be entertainment, but it's the theme of perfume, okay? So for example, like a lot of things that are working on restaurants and stuff is skits that are happening at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like people coming in and doing something stupid.
And falling apart and, the credit card goes into someone's mouth or something.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean your steak is good.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean but what it's done, it's entertained the person and it's got the brand out there and it's had the theme, it is restaurant still. So you could do other completely different content you're thinking. What you're probably thinking is, I want to show the features and benefits of my product. But that's just boring adverts.
Yeah,
no one likes
people don't
anymore.
like that.
Yeah. So go back to the drawing board. Think of you've probably got data. You got Sunamusk, innit?
Yeah.
Look at your data of people that click your ads. Like what age are they? What sort of what you've got? What sort of customer you want? Right. Write their name down. What their name would be. Their age. Their wealth. Their education level. Right. The fears and motivators. We'll go back to the avatar thing, bro. And think what content would they be interested in, not what I'm interested in, right? Let me give, I know you want to move on to other questions, but let me give one analogy as the next level, okay? Imagine it's your wife's birthday or Eid and you want to get her a gift, okay? I'm going to give you 3 people. These 3 people represent people on content creation, okay? 80% of people is this first guy. I'll give the present, Eid Mubarak, my love, thank you, open up, it's an Xbox. Thank you. You wanted the Xbox, not her.
Okay.
Yeah? And a lot of people create content that they want to create, that they think is good. You're not the target audience. you're being selfish. Okay, a lot of people, and some people by chance give the Xbox to the person that wants the Xbox by chance, and they go viral or whatever, but they haven't thought about it, and they continue to do what they want to do, and then they fizzle away. They're like fireworks. They go viral, and then you forget about them.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's like 80% of people, and then there's the 15%, the second one, where you give the present. She opens it up and she's like, oh, "That's exactly what I wanted. I've been talking about this for months. It's the necklace that I pointed it out in the, What I did, I listened to my wife for months talk about this necklace. I even asked, how would you feel about having that necklace? I mean, we can't afford it, but So I know I've learned about my wife, my audience, and I've tailored the content, the present, to the desires and wants and needs of, that's 15% of content creators. They do really well. They sell a lot of things, and they do respectable, like hundreds of thousands of followers and stuff. Now the 5% are the Mr. Beast of the world. She opens the present and she faints. Like she's like, oh! Like she can't believe it. You're going to take me away around the world for a year. She didn't know she wanted it, but you knew her so inside out that you knew this gift that she didn't even know she wanted it. She'd love. So you know your target audience better than they know themselves. If you get there and you create every bit of content with that in mind, you'll be the 5% of people on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. So it's all about understand the whole. This is why I can work with I don't know, like a doctor to help his practice in America, all the way to a construction company, because actually the way to go viral is understanding who you're and really practicing that and creating content that you think they would like and looking at the data. Okay, so I thought they'd like that, they don't. Okay, don't do that again. Let's keep doing this, and you construct it, inshallah, and that's how all content works, bro. So for perfume companies, you're probably making content that you think that they would like or you like, but actually you're not thinking about what they want. So yeah,
so it's a very lazy approach. a lot more work needs to go in.
80% of people, it's a normal approach, because if you're not a content creator or you're not thinking of content creation in that way, that's the only way people do things. Like they like people create an art piece that they want to they want to express. They don't go, oh, I really want to attract 30-year-old middle-class women. What are they liking at the moment? Okay, so they like this, so I'm going to paint that and sell it. Artists don't do that. So most people just do what they like and they hope that other people like it too. But really successful people on social media, they understand who they're targeting and they create it for them.
Amazing. And what you just said is pure psychology as well. And in real life as well, we do for other people what we would do for ourselves. So we're not really thinking about them. So if I'm buying a gift, I'm thinking about what I would like on them or something, but they don't really think from their perspective. So
and the reason why this formula works and why I know about this, I didn't go to study psychology or anything like that. Remember back to we were talking about dawah. What did I say? I said find out about them and tailor the dawah to them, and that's the best way dawah's worked. I've seen it work. My previous job as a salesman as well. That's how we sell people. You go. So I used to manage a shop called Warhammer. Have you heard of Warhammer?
No.
Little toy soldiers you build and paint. Okay. So people come in with their excess cash to spend on a hobby they're excited about. So you don't go, we've got this sale, the thing that you want, and you don't do that. You go, cool. So what are you painting lately? Did you enjoy that? What did you enjoy about that? You ask them questions, understand where they are in the hobby, and then you can recommend exactly what they want, and they will buy it. Like, so it's the same thing with everything in life, with human interactions, with social media, with all sorts. If you're consciously competent with stuff like that, you'll always sell and you'll always get what you need from that. So yeah, that's the skill that I learned so I go and I be, instead of you thinking about the avatar and someone will hire me to do that for them and work with them so they can fast track it all and they don't have to learn a new skill of content creator. They could just pay someone to do it. So that's what I do. So a lot of people, like, my social media is about video editing. That's because I want to help Muslim video editors get better at video editing, right? But actually my business, video editing, is like 10%, 20% of the...
It sounds more like a strategy.
Yeah,
you sound more like a strategist.
I'm a strategist, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We've covered so much, alhamdulillah. I mean, it's what, 1 hour, 22 minutes, 23 minutes running into. This is what happens when you enjoy the conversation. And unfortunately, if I try and keep it under 1 hour. I just can't. Like before I started today's conversation, I said, you know what? 50 minutes in, we're going to have to start wrapping up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when it's 50 minutes in, it's like, do you know what? This conversation is good.
What you should do, bro? You should have a phone call with the person first, so you can find out what's most interesting about them. Because we could do an episode on my reversion story, and it could be its own thing for an hour. And we could do an episode on business and YouTube, and that would be two separate things.
You know what?
So, yeah,
Interesting. So let's end with a quick fire.
Okay, go for it.
Your favorite food dish?
You know what? I'm a big foodie, as you can tell, right? And I haven't got an answer to that because it evolves. But I really like fine dining. Michelin star European.
Amazing. I wouldn't have imagined.
Tasters,
I wouldn't have.
I can't afford it all the time, but it's the thing that I look forward to, bro. There's only a couple of restaurants in the UK that halal and do that.
Oh wow! I think we need more Michelin style restaurants then in that case. The Muslim speaker that you listen to most or watch the most?
This is hard because, I told you about my journey with. I still
not your favorite. Who you watch the most?
But the thing is, I still do the work with all those da'is. So I'm watching them every day. I'm editing their stuff. I'm looking at their stuff.
Someone who you're not editing.
But I do. I edit them all. SubhanAllah. I'd say I'm going to be honest. I love Muhammad Hijab for the sake of Allah. He's brilliant, and the reason being is because he his knowledge base is really good, but he understands the layman. He understands how psychology works. He does things on purpose to get a ruckus, so people will look at the problem at hand. So he's brilliant. Sorry, I'm saying too much. Go on.
A film or TV series that's your favorite?
The Office.
The Office.
Yeah, The Office, the British one. Yeah.
Is that new or
no, it's back in the day, bro. It's like 2001.
Okay. Amazing. And favorite car?
I don't like cars.
You don't like
drive,
cars,
bro. That's
watch?
mad, isn't it?
Watch?
No watches. No.
Oh, any ornaments that
No, I don't like it, bro.
Wow.
When I got into this entrepreneur space, I'm in networks of people, that are also doing the same. And it just makes me feel sick. I hate when seeing people in Lamborghinis. It makes me feel it's not me. Bro.
Is that a personal thing?
Yeah, no. I wouldn't say if you like watches and that, alhamdulillah, I wouldn't mind a watch, but then I know the connotations of it, and I might not have the right watch for this meeting. And
so it gets you into that fear, moving away from Islam, or maybe deviating your way.
It's not just Islam, but it's against my personality, bro.
Yeah.
I don't do things to please other people. I do make myself look in a way that you look at me and at a certain perception. That's fine, but I'm not gonna. But I'll buy a $5,000 watch to make you think I'm big and special. Because that's what most people do it for, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
No cars.
Okay. Favorite. aspirational hijrah destination, if there was one.
Do you know what? That's what I'm doing. I'm going around the world. Every 3 months, I'm moving into a different Muslim country. If you go check out Ben Iqra on YouTube. I'm going to start vlogging it, bro. So I'm going to go to Turkey first, then Bahrain. I'm going to come back to Turkey, different areas. Maybe Malaysia next. I want to go to Saudi and Sharjah and Dubai and stuff as well. But yeah, I'll let you know.
Amazing. I'll follow your journey, inshallah, brother Ben. Thank you so much for coming in, and have a safe journey home all the way back to Oxford.
Oxford, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I like that area. It's nice.
Yeah, it's lovely, bro.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
you. And that's it for today on Side by Side. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation and found it insightful and educational. I, for one, have. If you have, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. Engage with us on all our social media platforms, and comment below if you have any guest recommendations or any questions. I will see you on our next episode. With that said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.